I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, May the 3rd, brought to you as always by DV Auction, your real-time auction broadcaster. Get on dvauction.com before it's too late and bid on that timed Nebraska Relief Fund auction that we have going on there. Several really nice items, a lot of livestock equipment on there and things like that, and something anybody would pretty much be interested in. But the bidding on that auction, that timed auction, remains open until May the 6th at 7 p.m. You can get on there and bid until then. Also on DV Auction this Saturday, LaForce Herefords is having a complete dispersal Saturday, May the 4th at 11 o'clock a.m. The auction is at the Enid, Oklahoma Livestock Market, but you can watch, bid and view right on dvauction.com. And that LaForce Hereford deal, 125 years of breeding there, focused on maternal genetics in the Hereford breed, and that is going to be quite an auction that happens there. Okay, now let's get on with the report. Fake meat went beyond expectations. Beyond Meat had its IPO on Thursday, and wow, did it impress. Here's a news alert to anybody that doesn't know, or somebody that's got their head in the sand, the Beef Council, whoever it is. The cat's out of the bag, guys, big time. And they had a lot of positive press. They rang the bell at NASDAQ, and boy, did they ring a bell. Initially, they had those shares priced at $25. They closed at $65.75, 163% increase there in stock price. Now that company, Beyond Meat, that makes the fake meat, it's a plant-based product. The hamburger meat's made mostly out of peas, and it bleeds beet juice. It's hard for me to say that every time without throwing up. But now that company is worth $3.9 billion, and they're going to use a lot of it for marketing and to spread their product all across the world. And don't kid yourself, this company is all about taking over the meat industry. They're focused against the livestock and the real meat. They want to take that whole deal over. They've got people, these techie people, and it's not just the vegans. It's techie type people that just are interested in the next new thing, and that's how they got all this money raised. And very, very impressive with what they did there, guys. And actually, Beyond Meat is not the most popular of the fake meat products. That the Impossible Foods that makes the Impossible Burger is most people's choice. So just imagine in this Beyond Meat deal, and lots of people that invested in it, I'm sure haven't tasted it, but they think that's the new deal. And a lot of your guys that were giving advice were telling them that they needed to get in that deal because it was going to roll up. But they've got this product in 12,000 stores and restaurants, and in places like A&W drive-ins, especially up there in Canada, TGI Fridays, Carl Jr.'s, and it's a real deal out there, guys. It's now valued at 44 times their sales. Last year, the company lost $30 million. And had all these people ganging up in there. I don't know. We need some education out there. We need some commercials out there. We need to support the stores and the restaurants that continue to serve healthy, real, hearty beef. And I don't know who we can get the hot shot after, but we've got to do something to get this. I don't even like their logo with the likeness of the steer on there. I know we've got some laws in several of these states here that restricts how they can label the stuff on the packages. I think we should restrict their logo. I don't like them having the logo of that steer on there, and it looks like he's got a cape, or maybe he's flying or something. I don't know, but it's weird, and I don't like it. But all the while this Beyond Meat company was increasing in value of stocks at 163%, in less than 2 weeks, your cash fat cattle market has lost 6%, and your board has lost 7%. Let's look at the board on Thursday. June live cattle futures down another 20 cents at 113.67. August was down 80 at 110.17. May feeder cattle down $2.40. They're just slaying it, guys. 138.97. August down $1.32 at 147.90. Your fat cattle trade, I wonder why they had we've already had the biggest volume so far this year now, and we're just through Wednesday, 114,800 head of negotiated sales in your 5-area feeding region. 52,000 of those were just on Wednesday. We saw a little bit more trade on Thursday, and then there'll be more cleanup sales. This will be the biggest week by far as volume, and why wouldn't they? But if you remember on Tuesday, the Southern Plains started out. Packers were wanting cattle because they're really speeding up the chain speeds and able to do that at cheaper prices early in the week. It's amazing after the winter that we had. But Southern Plains sold on Tuesday at 123. That was $3 lower. There was a little bit of trade in the eastern northern plains at $2 dressed. On Wednesday, we saw the western parts of the northern plains, western Nebraska, Colorado, places like that, selling at 124. We saw your Packers get really aggressive on Wednesday, trying to secure as much of their needs as they can all the way through the summer. And you know, they're doing it on a week where, yeah, it's a down market. But if you look at the futures and you look at the way things are going, you know, if they keep going like they are, they'll take this thing to nothing by August, and that's when the peak of the pressure is supposed to be. But they're trying to get all their needs secured all the way through, and buying a lot of cattle for late May at that 190, 193 dressed, but tons of contracts written. I mean, like 200,000. I mean, it's ginormous. They're trying to get all their needs filled up there, and you think they won't take it to nothing then. If you've ever come to one of my talks and heard me talk about the hog industry, the way the cattle are going, the way of the hogs, back in 1998, your hog industry decided they didn't need independent producers anymore. They take the hog price down to 8 cents a pound. Poof, no more independent producers, and now they control the whole thing. It makes you wonder if that's where we're headed. But your Packers are actually not feeding cattle anymore. They're doing it all contracting. That's what your pork people do. They do all the contracts, and they basically have all their needs filled that way, but they don't have to put the money up. But on Thursday, after all this down market we've seen, just on Thursday, had another 3,300 in Iowa, 123 to 127 live, and some more of that $2 dressed. Kansas, they had 1,200 head at 121. I'm not saying that's enough to establish the market, but you'd be hard pressed to get that 123 anywhere in the Southern Plains anymore. But 1,200 head of all classes there at 121. Nebraska, 2,700 head. Live sales 122 to 124, and dress price 196 to 198. Be hard pressed to get the $2 dressed flat unless you had some really nice confinement type cattle or something. Look at your box beef cutout values. They did fade off lower, and choice cuts Thursday afternoon, 228.80 down $1.42. Selects at 215.08 down $2.42. And those prices there are about $5 off of the average of last week's trade. So it is going to be a little bit lower, but they held up longer than we thought they would. Let's talk about your feeder cattle markets. Your real-time index on Cattle Market Central, 140.87. Late on Thursday, that was down another $1.53, and I mean, it's just dropping like a rock. And these sales, you know, I was talking earlier in the week how your Monday and Tuesday sales didn't get the big losses a week ago. We really didn't see the stiff losses until Wednesday and Thursday, and then I thought we'd see something more close to steady. No, this week the mid to late week auctions are sharply lower again. So if you look at the losses over the last couple of weeks in these mid to late week sales, you're talking $10 to $15 on yearlings, guys, and that is a ton. But look at some of your big sales. Pratt, Kansas, 3,800 head there. Feeder cattle $1 to $4 lower. Pratt was a wreck a week ago, and feeder cattle another $1 to $4 lower, and spots as much as $8 lower. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas. Lighter run there, 2,300 head. Had a lot of rain in that part of the country. Talked to guys that ride in that I-70 region going across there. I know we got flooding over on the Mississippi River too, but all across that, right across I-70 there, tons of rain. And get up there, you know, talk to some of my friends in southern Missouri, like 6 to 8 inches of rain, unbelievable. But you won't believe here in 2 or 3 weeks when the sun gets out good and the temperatures warm up, how beautiful those Flint Hills are going to be with all the rain. They got everything burned off, and it'll just take your breath. And get on that Kansas Turnpike or that scenic byway, and it's worth the trip, guys. But Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas, 2,300 head, lighter run. Feeder steers there, $7 to $9 lower. Tell you what, this deal has fallen out of bed. Mitchell, South Dakota, 2,800 head only there. A little spooked to the market, and you can't blame them. Feeder cattle, $3 to $8 lower. Steers and heifers. It's all over, guys. And the steers weighing over 1,000 pounds were still $2 to $4 lower. They get a lot of backgrounded big cattle, big feeding type cattle that have already kind of been started in Mitchell in that area. But I tell you what, $4 lower on a steer weighing over 1,000, that's a ton. But look at this individual quote on some of those big steers. Out of Mitchell on Cattle Market Central here, 59 head of 1,019 pound feeder steers, $127.10. Now talk about your biggest quote that we had on Thursday. Comes out of that North Country up there in Billings, Montana. 123 head of 846 pound steers bring $136.50. That's a pretty good market. It's hard to believe, but that's the way things are. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.